Hello ladies and gentlemen, Rudolph here, and this video might be a little different from what I've been posting in the past. However, I hope it entertains you all the same. But anyways, this video's content today is going to focus on what it feels like to be a top tier tank as opposed to being a bottom tier tank, and how mainly I play as a top tier tank as opposed to a bottom tier tank. So anyways, this is the tier 8 Czechoslovakian medium tank, the TVP VTU. Arguably, this isn't the best of tanks, but I mean, take a look at all the other tier 8 medium tanks. I mean, which one of those really stands out to you? Exactly. TVP VTU, it's not particularly strong, but it's not particularly bad. It's a highly maneuverable tank, gets paper-thin armor, and a choice between a large selection of guns, and boy, that was a terrible shot. But the gun I'm using on the TVP VTU is the 88. No, not the tier 7 88, tier 8 88. Which has 50 more millimeters of penetration, 194 to be exact, on its AP rounds, 237 on its premium rounds, which are APCR in this tank, which are my favorite premium rounds, and 44 on its HE rounds, which I am not carrying at the moment. But anyways, in a top tier match, I feel like, well, if you are the top tier tank, if you are one of the top tier tanks, in which this case there are 3 on each team, me being one of them, you might have to pull your weight a little bit more than some of the other tanks on your team. You are top tier, and in this case, I don't have the armor to take hits from a lot of the enemy tanks, nor do I have the hit points, but I do have the gun to rip apart a lot of the lower tier tanks very quickly. This tank has very high damage per minute with this 88mm gun, or 88cm gun. So that's what I'm trying to do on this hill right here. I'm staying back and trying to rip apart some enemy tanks, whether that be top tier tanks or bottom tier tanks. But what I like about this position on Kamaran, which Kamaran isn't one of my favorite maps, but what I like about this south side position is that the hill is readily available and closer than that of the north side. On the north side, you have to cross a river, and there's a dip before you actually can get onto the hill to shoot at your opponents. On the south side, you can simply pop up on the hill and start shooting at the enemies as they cross over to the eastern side of the map. But I am abandoning that position for the moment because I don't want to go head to head with most of their top tier heavy tanks, one of which is an Il-Ho, and if he has any sense, well, sense of fun that is, he will probably most likely be mounting the 152mm derp gun on that tank. And this tank, having 50mm strongest at the front, doesn't take 76mm and at least 900 alpha damage of derp gun very well. So I'm not going to go head to head with those guys, but I am going to flank around here in the middle, where none of my team went, and support the rest of my team from getting behind those guys in the northeastern corner, where that ditch on the north side is that you can go into a nice hold down position and still be safe from artillery. Of course, what does it matter when artillery will have shots at your rear? Oh well. Hopefully, by that time I get around there, the artillery will be picked off as we are pushing through the northwestern side of the map. I went this way because I realized, well, most of my team are down in that southeastern side of the map, in that little corner down there, and a lot of their team are pushing along. So even though my team might not have the, well, adequate tiered tanks to be able to hold all of them off, they have enough tanks to be able to slow the advance. And I feel that by the time I pick apart some of these low health tier 7s and tier 6s, I'll be able to get around there and put some shots into the rears of those tanks. And just take note of that Il-Ho. He's going to show up later and he might do a number on us. Who knows? No spoilers. Maybe. So anyways, we're just on cleanup duty around here. And this is a really good kind of way to play the TVP VTU. It's not a head-to-head tank, I say as I go head-to-head with the hammer, but he misses anyway, and we can get a shot into him. Smooth. The TVP is just such a good tank for just parking itself behind the enemies or on a flank of the enemies, not attracting too much attention and just unloading into the sides of their tanks with its incredible DPM and pretty good penetration. But around this ditch across the river on the north side, which is where I was talking about a little earlier when I was talking about the hill, we meet our buddy in the Il-Ho, and that's him knocking down the trees right there. And wow, does he really do a number on us? Oh god.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
So wow, we really did charge blindly into that one and take at least 1100 of our hit points with us. But the thing about the Yo-Ho is that it's a big tank, and it might have problems putting its gun down at tanks that are a little smaller than it. Or just smaller than it in general, because the Yo-Ho's quite the big tank. In fact, it's probably one of the biggest tanks in the game. And while the TVP is pretty big for a tier 8 medium tank, the Yo-Ho couldn't get his gun all the way down to point his gun at us. However, it doesn't look like the KV-4 didn't have much of a problem with that. So, we made some big misplays at the end of the match there. And as a top tier tank, it's crucial that we played our part. But I feel that at the end of this match, I've done enough. I'm satisfied with what I did. 14 shots with the TVP VTU's 88 is maybe around, what, 3,000 damage? I feel in a tier 8 match, it's not superb, but it's noteworthy, and in a team where there's only 3 tier 8s on each team, I feel it does a significant impact. And it looks like our efforts paid off as we take a Confederate medal and a victory out of that match. Unfortunately, we did lose a couple of credits, but it wasn't anything too significant. And the TVP's armor didn't block anything. 3,000 damage. It's not superb again, but it's something. Now anyways, how does it feel to be on the bottom of the list? In an Achilles, a tier 6 tank destroyer in a tier 8 match where the Achilles probably isn't one of the best tier 6 tank destroyers out there. The Achilles has okay penetration, it has okay alpha damage, it has okay DPM. The only thing that really stands out to me about the Achilles is the power to rate ratio and the traverse speed. It's kind of like the Wolverine just got stepped up a tier and thrown on a couple more hit points. It's really nothing too special. When you're fighting tanks like maybe an IS-3, a Tiger 2, or even a Tiger 88, this tank really doesn't shine too much. Now in tier 6 matches, this tank can pull its weight, and it has a significant impact. But in a tier 8, I feel like some players, if they're a bottom tier tank, might just look at the matchmaking and immediately give up, or immediately just kind of lose confidence in their tanks. They'd be like, well, I'm bottom tier, I'm not going to do anything anyway, and maybe just charge in and kill themselves. But my logic is, when you're in a bottom tier match, that's when you have the most potential. You don't always have to do the best. You don't always have to outperform everyone else. And if you do, you'll be rewarded greatly. So, when you're on bottom tier, sure, your tank might not be as good as the guy 2 tiers up. But as long as you pull your weight and put in some effort to the match, I feel that you'll be rewarded and you'll feel a lot better than if you kind of just gave up and threw your tank into the nearest cluster and just sat in the garage waiting for it to get back. I feel that if you put a little bit of effort, it'll pay off tremendously, especially in a bottom tier tank. Now, there's a couple things the Achilles does well besides turning fast and accelerating fast. The penetration for a tier 6 tank destroyer is pretty. With the top gun on this tank, the 17-pounder AT gun, you get a solid 171 millimeters of penetration with your standard rounds. And if you do choose to fire a premium, you get 239. That's enough to go through pretty much any tier 8 tank. Noting that you might have to fire at some weak spots. You do get this gun on the Archer though, and you might feel that mounting it on the Achilles, a tier higher, might not feel all that special, because with the Archer, the highest you could go is up to tier 7, and 171 millimeters of penetration, let alone 239, is more than enough to go through tanks like the Tiger Porsche most of the time, and the IS. On the Achilles, it might feel like kind of a downgrade than the Archer. It might be kind of like that situation you kind of get with the Hellcat and the T-25 too, where you feel like, wow, the Hellcat was just so much better in so many ways. And I kind of felt that when I first got the Achilles. But, as I mentioned before, I don't mind the maneuverability of this tank. It's not anything to boast about, but it's much better than the Archers. Although, the Archer, I did have a lot of fun driving around backwards and getting players with confused messages. But the Achilles does have one thing that the Archer doesn't, and that is a turret. So, with the Achilles, although the turret traverses very, very slowly, that means if you want to sit there and turn your turret and shoot at targets, your camo rating will remain while you're not moving your tank. Now, the camo rating on this tank, again, isn't anything to boast about, but it's just one step up from the Archer in turret senses. And also with the turret, you can shoot in different directions while driving in another direction. Obviously, this applies with any tank with a turret, but the Archer doesn't get a turret. So, I feel with the Archer that, while it does go fast in reverse, oftentimes you would pull up to an enemy, shoot the enemy, and then book it in reverse in order not to get fired. In the Achilles, however, you can point at your enemies and, again, do the same reverse or forward tactic. And, I've had such a noob moment with this ELC, so please just don't look for the next 10 seconds. It's really embarrassing. Okay, well, now that that's over, let's get back to the video and go start hunting a T-32. But here's the catch. We're in an Achilles. So far, I know, this match hasn't been anything too interesting, but isn't that the point? And, oh, I'm randomly firing into buildings. What a nice person, just destroying innocent people's homes. Oh well, if you can do it in little tanks, people are gonna do it in little tanks. I know, I'm guilty of doing it. Sorry, everybody. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's a Hellcat. Oh, and that's obviously a way better tier 6 tank destroyer than us. But if you're just gonna come charging in like that, buddy, then, I mean, I don't really even have to aim to kill you. So where is this T-32? And right now I'm gonna load some gold because 239mm will be more than enough to get me through the front and sides of the T-32. Or not. Come on, do your magic. There you go. 171 is great, but going through the front of the T-32 and sometimes the side, it can ricochet. And with this APCR, 239mm of penetration. Oh, we got a fire. I don't think I'm going to be ricocheting anytime soon. And hey, we managed to kill a T-32 from full health. And you know, this match, I didn't really do a lot. But that's the point of being a bottom tier. You don't always have to do a lot, and your team might not always expect you to pull your weight correctly. But just 1500 damage in a tier 6 is enough to get us on the top of the leaderboard in a tier 8 match. You don't always have to pull your weight too much when you're bottom tier, but if you pull your weight just enough, you'll get what you want. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you later.